don't know how good of an idea this is going to be because I'm cooking. However, I intend to make this very short and brief. So, my name is Jada. But as you can see by the channel, I go by the Authentic Empress. And so when we talk about this saying that is repeated, throughout our entire lives, especially for those of us who have spiritual backgrounds, upbringings, families, yada yada, right? Many are called, few are chosen. Many, and there's even some people who say many are chosen, but few are picked. There's different ways to, say it. All right, so y'all know how it's like a lot of conflict going on with relationships and like the foundation of it all. Like the foundation, which is the family, which is healthy connections, unified, partnerships, and stable families, stable foundations, basis, right? That's why you see like a lot, going on about the mental health, the emotional health, and security in families, and just the network, generational curses concerning like emotional and psychological imbalances, is that and the third, relational imbalances, familial imbalances, right? Many are called to be an emperor, to be an empress, but few fail due to arrogance, due to jealousy, competition, unresolved traumas, deflection, dismissing, being emotional dismissive, not doing what is necessary to really properly communicate your truth, or transparently about things that you're dealing with, because I don't believe, that you have to be completely perfect, to be in a connection with people, or to have like a thriving, a healthy, connection. I don't really think, that's it's not a definite. It doesn't have to be that way. However, societal expectations and all these things that we've been taught, that's been like we've been bombarded with, and and I want to say a lot of it could come from people who are fragile, are spiritually fragile, or like emotionally fragile, for whatever reason, for anything, whatever it may be stemming from, whether that be with their parents, or relational matters of any kind, where there was some type of some type of wounds, created, that's not healed. But I know from my own experience as an empress, because I am a fucking empress, that most of the people I've dated were in the beginning fascinated with me, and then that shifted into them being becoming a competitor, an opposing force in my life, opposing me, making me their competitor, their competition, becoming arrogant and prideful, at the beginning being fascinated and enjoying, the benefits of such, said, aspects, and, the essence and the aura, that an empress, emperor has, because I'm pretty sure emperors have experienced this too, right? Because the roles reverse, depending on the person. But I definitely feel like a lot of empresses, experience this. But definitely emperors, definitely emperors that experience this too. And these people are given opportunity, to really, put their best foot forward and express, all the pure aspects of love and divinity, within themselves, and, given a head start by being, in a connection with somebody who is a divine, who is of purity, of a pure heart, pure love, bearing pure love, right? And like how, and then there's always like obstacles and temptations and, other things that can come into play, to create situations or challenges within that, right, within that path of becoming or solidifying, truly establishing your emperorhood, your empresshood, your priesthood, whatever the case may be. But that royal foundation, that to really break, whatever curses that may be in either or's bloodline, right? And once those things come along, you know, not everybody past that. And you know, like I said, other things come into play. You know, temptation could also be societal expectations, what other people expect of you, or you know, the limitations or the expectations that, you know, people, you know, kind of project globally, you know, on the entire gender, you know, just that, you know, whatever the case may be. And as a result, this is where you see people, you know, start to malfunction, you know, and glitch within themselves, like their spiritual selves, because now, you know, you got this, you know, connection, you know, with yada yada yada. You have a beautiful person in your life, who really is, you know, an empress, an emperor. But then you have like society, you know, you have like, and you know, I'm going to say this because there's levels to society. No, not everybody is a peasant, but you do have your peasant crowd out there who, you know, end up getting put in places of, you know, seats and thrones, you know, platforms where empresses and emperors should be sitting and, you know, doing the speaking and doing the council. That's sound, you know, because there's a reason why they put the word sound in front of council, because there's a such thing as unsound counsel. People giving you counsel, you know, misinformation, misadvice, you know what I'm saying, misleading people, guiding people off their own like hurts and fragilities and emotional imbalances and psychological illnesses and instability, right? And you just create a lot of confusion, and it's like you just create like a domino effect, or what, it's like you're giving birth, you know. Everything you produce, everything you put out of yourself, you're producing something, you're creating something, and you're putting that out there in the universe. And then these people get these platforms and they just gurgitate, you know, all these different things, you know, speaking from a place of hurt or like grudge and bitterness and stuff like that. And it just creates a whole mess. Let me check on, I need to check on, give me 1 second. Oh, so let me hurry up so I can do this real quick. I want to do better about doing like little short videos and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, the people, you know, speaking from my own experiences, like, you know, in my dating life, and, you know, it's always, it's like, it, you know, it's usually outside, like third parties, external forces that be at play, you know, that are, you know, not particularly healthy, that will kind of like parasites, like embed themselves, you know, in these people's minds. And, you know, some of this stuff is because of things that's already within some of these people too, you know, the things that we experience, you know, in our upbringing, like with toxic parents and toxic family members, or just toxic culture and, you know, stuff like that. And so it's kind of like you're kind of susceptible, you know, to those things, or, you know, having like certain wounds that can be fed upon, you know, yeah, I hope y'all understand what I'm trying to say. But anyway, where a person can be more vulnerable, you know, to those things. And, you know, it's very unfortunate to watch somebody tear down their own house. And I know, you know, there's scriptures that say, y'all have to know that there's ancient texts way further before biblical, where biblical, you know, scriptures were derived from. So you know, I'm going to speak how I speak. And so basically there's a saying that says, it talks about a woman who tears down her own house. And if we, you know, if we're really going to talk about, let's really go deep into this. Like, let's say we're talking about the yin energy, you know, is it yin that's woman, or yang? I think it's yin. But let's talk about the feminine aspect that everyone has, right? So a woman tearing down her own house. So if emotional energy is typically associated with women with the feminine energy. If intuitive energy, intuition, discernment is usually associated with women. So let's talk about this feminine energy, a woman tearing down her own house. In all people, in all genders, including men. That emotional instability, that intuitive, what's the word? Deactivation within a person that causes them to tear down what could potentially be a stable foundation or something that's already on the grounds of being a stable foundation. All you have to do is just live out and express the best parts of yourself, aspects of yourself, including those downer aspects of yourself, but the beauty of that foundation of it being with a sincere person, a person who was pure-hearted and, you know, who's prepared to offer you unconditional love, that gives you like that security, you know, that security blanket, that what's another term, being that safe tower of the foundation, the towers of the foundation. You got the foundation, you got the towers. So you know how you get tired or you're kind of exhausted, you just had to run, you'll find something to like just lean on. All right, so you got that safe tower of that person who loves you unconditionally and is pure, right? The Empress, the Emperor, blah, 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 right? And, you know, so that's where like you can rest and you can just, you know, just express those things, you know, that you know, rather not feel, you know, but it's there, you know, it's a part of you and it's something that you have to overcome in order to, you know, it's like you have to get through it and continue to build, you know, add building blocks to the foundation, right? Instead of tearing that house down emotionally or deactivating your intuition and getting too, you know, getting too caught up in, you know, in the masculine energy or however you want to put it, but just being way too one-sided within like either energy or a way of thinking, right? And so people have a tendency of tearing down like their own castles, tearing down their own thrones, you know, like tearing down, you know, foundations where the Most High, you know, is literally, your divine ancestors is literally helping you, like giving you a head start by giving you a putting that person, your partner, like, or a person who has the potential to be that in your life. And because of like your traumas or like, you know, your worries, your fears, a lot of it is fears, a lot of it is fear, a lot of it is trauma, right? Because of that, you just completely, like, you get to a place where you start to compete with that person, a person who's supposed to be stronger. You know, like how it's supposed to be a balancing. There's supposed to be a balancing, right? So when shit isn't going so well for you, would you also want the other person to be shitty at the same exact time? You know, somebody that's supposed to be like that balancing factor in your life. Why would you want both people to be completely shitty at the same time? Not saying that this doesn't, you know, happen, you know, to an extent, but there's usually somebody who can offer like some type of counsel or some type of grounding in a situation if there is like a mutual disappointment, right? But instead, you know, you resort to tearing that person down because you feel jealous, you feel intimidated, you feel inferior because that person is able to like kind of hold their ground better than you at the moment, right? And this is where people begin to forfeit their opportunity to be that chosen one. Now, forfeit their opportunity to be a leader, you know, of their legacy and generation. Yeah. And I've seen emperors reduce themselves to knights and pages and even peasants as a result of turning something that was supposed to be teamwork into a competition, and instead becoming an opposer where obviously there's going to already be like threats and there's going to already be warfare and threats to the kingdom, you know, to the throne, you know, people trying to overthrow the emperor, the empress, what, blah, 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 overthrow whoever is on the throne. That's already out there. So when you're supposed to be sticking together, you'll have that person, you know, who in their weakness, they get overcome because instead of like being here, they're all out there, like, and people who are not in, especially when it comes to people who are not even in that position that you're in of obtaining, you know, that royalhood. You get what I'm saying? Like, who even have like a person who's truly like a pure-hearted person, like a divine person. Everybody's not in connections with people who are divine, who, you know, has the best interest for them, or you know what I'm saying? So this is where you'll see people like deteriorate and stuff like that. And it's like, like the prodigal son. You either come to yourself and realize, I need to go back home. Or you stay out there with the pigs, you know what I'm saying? And you just allow yourself to just be lessened and lessened and lessened in your value and your quality, you know? And yeah, I'm just going to leave it here for now. And I'll do a continuation, or, I mean, this is just my thoughts on that. Yeah, many are called to be an emperor and empress, but many fail due to their arrogance, pride, envy, jealousy, or competing with somebody who is supposed to be their teammate. So, see y'all next time.